Welcome to EWA's FIN-LYT podcast. EWA is a fee-only RIA based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We hope all listeners of this podcast will benefit as we deep dive into complex financial topics that we will make simplified for you. And we hope that this really serves as a catalyst so that you can make the best financial planning decisions for your family and also save time. Welcome, everybody. Today, joined by Ben Ruttenberg, number one sports picker on EWA's team. But today, we're talking about the new services that we're going to be offering at EWA. So very exciting stuff. We're going to break it down. We've expanded the services for all clients and also implementing some new stuff for high net worth clients. We're really excited. But before we get into it, Ben, what do you think? NBA Finals. Who's going to be? You picked the Celtics and Thunder with the Thunder winning.
That's correct. So
you still going with this?
I'll still hang with the Thunder coming out of the West. In the East, I don't know. I mean, pretty surprising that the Pacers beat the Cavs. We're filming this in early May here, so I don't know when this will be released. But Pacers beating the Cavs, big upset, and then the Knicks are up on the Celtics right now, which was my pick to come out of the East was Boston. So I'll stick with the Thunder.
Do you think Celtics are going to come back?
No, I think the Knicks will take one of these last two, especially because they're going back to MSG for Game 6. But I'll still keep the Thunder as my overall champ, but I have no idea who's coming out of the East right now.
All right, my pick was the Lakers, but they got whacked the first round. But now I'm switching it up. I'm going Knicks and Timberwolves, with the Timberwolves ultimately winning.
They're looking really good right now.
Ant-Man getting his first championship.
They're looking really good, the Wolves. They took care of the Warriors pretty. I understand Steph was hurt, but they
I don't think
they looked really good. No, probably not.
Okay, should we talk about what we're actually here to talk about then? Or you just want to talk about sports all day? No, I'm just kidding. PGA is coming up, starting today. I got to get your pick real quick.
Starting today, I would say two picks. One, Scotty of like the favorites. I think this course sets up well for him, and he's only at two majors right now, and at his talent, it's time for him to get his third. So I'll say Scotty would be of the favorites, and then maybe more of a dark horse pick would be Tommy Fleetwood. Big fan of his game, the way he's trending. He's playing really well right now, and
all right,
Quail Hollow, a lot of long irons, and that's a skill set of his game. So I would say maybe off the beaten path, Tommy Fleetwood would be a pick for me. You know
my pick, right?
Bryson.
Yeah, that's right.
Big Bryson guy over here.
I would say a big Bryson guy. I think he's just going to win. That's all. Okay, sweet. So back to the program here. So at EWA, first of all, we're an REA, and one of the ways we differentiate ourselves is we've completely dropped our brokerage licenses. So we're a fee-only firm, meaning we don't charge commissions. There's no fees to get out. There's no fees to get in. No fees to get in. No fees to get out. In fact, we offer a wrap program for all of our clients. That means any transactional costs that do exist inadvertently, we cover. So
our advisor fee is the true fee that you're paying.
That's it. All in, extreme transparency, which we believe in. But under that, we have started to trend in offering as many services as possible, because I believe the biggest benefit we can do for our clients is, I think a lot of advisors meet to meet, a lot of wasted time. A lot of clients have different meetings. They have an insurance person, an investment person, a CPA, an estate plan, and they have to go to all these meetings. They come back, they try to communicate, everything gets convoluted, everyone disagrees, and then the client, what should have taken a couple hours takes months, and it is stress and confusion. So we're solving for that by trying to get everything in-house, everything quarterbacked, making sure the client's goals are extremely well understood, their philosophy, their values, what they want for their kids, and it's actually executed flawlessly, but all with the premise behind it that we're here to save your only non-renewable resource. Money can be, lost or gained easily, but time cannot. Time, we only have that finite amount. And so we try to protect that at all costs. We take that very seriously. So with that being said, we operate as a CFO. We want to meet to report to you so you can live your life, make sure that your money is supporting your life by design, not the vice versa, where you're stressing based upon what your money does or doesn't do. That's why we brought taxes in-house. That's why our estate planning we've got extremely involved with. We have a couple, partners that will get it to the 2-yard line and get that executed. So we have all the information here. And that's something we plan on trying to bring in-house in the near future, an estate planning attorney. So one of the recent offerings we've had is be able to manage people's outside 401ks through a technology platform. But a lot of what we do for our clients that have 401ks is we'll go in, we'll do the trading, the rebalancing, coordinate it with the rest of their investment plan. But right now we're still required to schedule Zoom calls to do what's referred to as mega backdoor Roths. So a lot of our clients are doing after-tax contributions, convert it to Roth. A lot of our clients are just doing Roth conversions inside their 401k plan. If we saw a 15% drop like we did earlier this year with the tariffs, that's a perfect time to convert money from, pre-tax to Roth, pay the taxes on a lower suppressed value, then all the appreciation is tax-free. So those still require those Zoom calls. We still need to get on with the client. That technology just allows us to trade, doesn't allow us to execute. So what we've decided—
One thing that too is just even changing contributions. Every year, contribution limits go up, or if we need to back anything down, that's another kind of touch point that we'd have with clients to make those changes that would ultimately take their time.
Yeah. So with this being said, we have a solution to this now, and a lot of our clients, which I believe is probably the greatest compliment EWA as a company has ever received, a lot of our clients have asked us to be trustee. They're doing these estate planning documents and say, who do you want a trustee? I don't want a big bank or financial institution. We don't know necessarily if the kids are ready yet or if the uncle wants to deal with this. Will you be the trustee? And we've had to say no, because that would deem us as taking what's referred to as custody, right? So if you take custody, which right now all of our money is at Fidelity or Schwab, that's not going to change. Two very well-known institutions. Clients feel comfortable. The custody would mean control of that money. So we found out a solution is available to accomplish where we can fully handle the 401ks, and we can also be trustee. And this is something that's referred to as taking fiduciary custody. So fiduciary custody means we have a higher level of access than normally an RIA does, but this will allow us to become trustee for clients that are interested. So we're now able to serve, our mission is become a multi-generational firm that can see your financial plan, your legacy go through from you to your kids, family governance, making sure, the money doesn't get wasted like it typically does immediately between generations or within 3 generations. Like 3% of money statistically is gone. We want to solve that epidemic that's out there. So becoming a trustee will allow us to become involved with all family members and quarterback that communication. That's huge. While we take on this fiduciary custody arrangement, there are several things that we'll have to do as a firm that I think are benefits to clients, because it makes us the amount of protection we have to put in place specifically around cybersecurity is going to go up a lot, and the amount of systems and protection we have to do internally as we get looked at by the SEC is going to go up as well. And I view those things, a lot of firms will shy away from those things. I feel that's going to be a pain. I view it as good pain, like hard decision, but it's going to make our life easy, because we define our life as serving clients. And the more we can serve clients, I think the more, we already have a very high retention, but the more retention, the more new clients we'll get in, the more we're able to hire the firm. So it's a win-win. But the biggest thing is just saving time for clients and being able to serve the actual needs that clients have, which I think the intergenerational piece is missing in general with most advisors out there. And so the fiduciary custody from a 401k standpoint, we'll be able to go in and have a password management system for clients that want us to. And this is only for clients that want to opt in. We'll be able to go in and do everything. We'll be able to update the elective deferrals. We'll be able to go decide how Roth balances are allocated, more aggressively than pre-tax balances. We'll be able to process the Roth conversion right when the market downturn. We don't need you're a neurosurgeon. We don't need a quarterback. Hey, let's schedule 15 minutes. Well, they don't have time. Well, the market's down 15. We can just go in and execute it. So for clients that want to fully us take over that part of their financial lives, because we're already handling typically the rest of their financial life, we'll be able to do that. This will allow us to do that. This will also, in the same thing, allow us to be named as trustee right now. Like if someone has an irrevocable trust, wants us to be a trustee, we'll be able to do that as well. So we view those as huge wins. What that means for us and why, I think this is a benefit for clients, we have to do 2 things. So we have to do one thing, the SEC has come out with new publications. it's called penetration testing. So when did it basically get a cybersecurity test every year that a outside party is going to come in and essentially audit how good our cybersecurity systems are in place and point out any gaps that exist. And I believe that is the number one risk for a firm like ours, for any financial institution. The bigger, the more the risk it is, and also for clients individually. So that'll force. We already have extremely high protocol for cybersecurity. I'd say the highest out of any RAs that exist, but this will actually put that to the test, and in a good way. It's not, it's someone that's testing it to make sure it's strong, not an actual bad person trying it, so we can, see what gaps exist before it's too late, which is great. Then the other thing we have to do is we have to get a third-party audit by a PCAOB CPA firm. So now I came from the audit world, but this type of firm is overseen by the PCAOB. So when they audit us, they're again going to look at all of our systems, all of our control mechanisms, and give us, feedback and basically a stamp of approval every year. The SEC still comes in, like any RAA, and gives us the audits. We've been through 2. Those have both gone great, but they still come in and do their job. Now we have extra, basically 3 layers of accountability. We have the PCAOB audit, we have the cybersecurity penetration test, and we still have the SEC. So if I'm a client, I'm just putting myself in the client's shoes. I'm saying, wow, this firm has really exposed themselves. Like they're getting really tested on all these levels. And as we grow, those control mechanisms are going to be extremely important for the protection of clients. And by the way, all of our clients will still have the backing of, Fidelity or Charles Schwab as the actual custodian. What we're not doing is we're not becoming a bank. We're not becoming our own custody. We're not taking over the physical custody of money. This fiduciary custody just allows us to do those 2 roles, the trust and the 401k management.
Important distinction there between just custody and fiduciary custody. So I'm glad you hit on that.
No question. Yeah. So Ben, anything else to add? I know we want to talk about some of the other higher net worth offerings that we do. And obviously I think I would say label us in the top 1% as far as like what we do for clients with investment management, financial planning, estate planning, the taxes now actually in-house. But anything before we go into that, some new services there, do you have anything to add or from personal experience on the fiduciary custody decision?
Yeah, you hit on a lot of it. Just from an advisor side, anything we can do to save our clients' time is, in our opinion, the right avenue to go down. You mentioned working with physicians or business owners that are just too busy to find 30 minutes, to get something done during the day when it needs to get done. And having that sort of fiduciary capacity to go in and do it for our client's behalf not only lets us do it at the moment's notice. If we see a market drop suddenly, we're able to do these kind of things, but just anything we can do to save their time. We don't want them to just get on a Zoom and, do it with us just to do it. Like if we're able to do it ourselves.
Yeah, Ben, you're exactly right. So our job is like to report, obviously our clients still are the CEO of their lives. They make the final stamp of approval and decisions, but now we're able to just report and say, hey, we got all of this stuff done on your behalf. And I would liken it to like, if you've done a house project and you have to manage like 5 different people, like an electrician and a plumber, and like versus just having a contract that's managing all that, it's going to be a completely different experience. And what if you had a contract that like knew you so well that they were also like said, hey, you need to pick out cabinets. Well, hey, I know these are my 2 suggestions, and narrowing down that decision fatigue. I would say that's like there's different levels and steps, and we're going to provide that highest level now, as we always have, but even higher. Of just giving that concierge experience.
Yeah.
For all
and
clients.
Just being proactive too. I mean, it's almost doing things without even you realizing it needs to get done, without even needing to schedule it. Those are the type of things our clients appreciate.
No question. Okay, perfect. So the other thing we are doing is we've noticed in the marketplace, on our portfolio, we're, making changes as market conditions change. So for example, the way we've addressed emerging markets in the past, we didn't include in China. Now we include China. We included gold in the portfolio about a year ago. All of those decisions staying very proactive. But now for higher net worth clients, we found that there's a lot of IPOs. So initial public offerings, for example, have essentially become like almost pump and dump schemes where like all these people have private access to companies before they go private, they go public, everyone takes their money off the table in these huge gains. Then, lower net worth people buy it and then the stock just plummets. So it's basically a transfer of wealth from the lower net worth to higher net worth. And that's happened in America in many examples. I think it's very unfortunate. But with that being said, so for any client, that portfolio, we want to make sure it's best in class. For high net worth clients, I would define right now as like over 10 million. We're going to have the opportunity to get into private markets. So private credit and private equity. And so this is a portfolio we're currently developing. It's going to require a little bit more upfront work with like subscription agreements. But the downside of this is the reason we're recommending it for high net worth clients only is some of these investments don't have liquidity like a typical investment. Typical investment, if you're an ETF, you need it, you can sell it that day, get the money back that day. In a private investment, the money's not available right away. Typically it takes several years to get. So this would only be appropriate for someone that's already financially secure with extra money, looking for excess returns or for diversification purposes. And then same thing for private credit would be the same thing. And this would be letting private companies borrow your money instead of letting public companies borrow your money. So this portfolio is going to still, by and large, be the same as our regular portfolio, but it's going to lower some exposures and include the private equity and private credit for the right investors that can sustain longer periods of time for their investments without, the uncertainty of the liquidity needs. So we'll walk through that on a case-by-case basis, but very excited to expand the offerings to as we grow as well. But any other further thoughts on that, Ben?
No, and we'll have more on that as that develops, but exciting offering, and particularly for the kind of ultra high net worth clients, because I feel like they are approached often for private investments, and we're trying to get in the space of reviewing those and kind of giving pros and cons to all of these pitches almost that people are getting. So having a regulated portfolio that is incorporating this, I think it's going to be a huge value add to a lot of those clients that are in that space or things like that.
No question. Having it quarterbacked as part of an overall strategic plan. I would say there's a huge difference in private equity and private investments. Private investments are typically like a friend or family member, like, hey, I have this idea. Some of those can work great. Most of the time, those are not going to work great. And it's like if it hits great. If it doesn't hit, not only do you lose your money, you probably have to pitch in a couple more times as the company suffers and needs more cash. We see that all the time. Private equity, we're talking typically only billionaires have access to. So we're talking about sports team ownerships. We're talking about, you look at what private equity owns. I'm trying to think of an example. Jersey Mike's. Like you go in a Jersey Mike's, it's like an assembly line of efficiency, right? Private equity owns Jersey Mike's now. Yeah. So you can kind of tell with how smooth the business operates and how profitable is a private equity. So there's a lot of opportunities, but a normal investor can't get in because they're looking for huge amounts of capital. So that's why this is exciting, because it's going to be the high quality private equity are actually going to be available for clients that typically wouldn't have access to those.
Sure.
So perfect. Well, that's it. We look forward to answering any questions and more to come as we unroll this and do all the due diligence behind the scenes, but want to get ahead of the ball here and make the announcement. And we're excited to have these individual conversations with all of our clients. Thanks for joining. Catch you next week. Thanks for tuning in to our podcast. Hopefully you found this helpful. Really hope this is as beneficial and impactful to as many people across the nation as possible. So hit the follow button. Make sure to rate the podcast, and please share with any friends or family members that would also find this beneficial. Thank you very much.